All right, guys, welcome to Fantasy Sports Wrap Edition here. Michael Potter and Darren Phillip here. And Darren, as you can tell, in his home studio, Michael Potter here at the Denver International Airport. I'm like tucked in a corner. Let me just show you. Oh, there's a little planes out
awesome.
there.
You the man. You the man. Making it happen, man.
You know,
Making it happen.
we had some big games here, Darren. So we couldn't not do one. And big news for you, 2 in a row. Is that actually true? Is that possible?
It's a final.
Oh
it's a
my
final.
goodness.
I don't believe he's got anybody tonight. No, he does not. And it was pitching who did it for me because it wasn't hitting. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, go over your pitching line that you got here. I mean, your final numbers were pretty insane.
I had 77 strikeouts for the week. 4 wins, which, tied for the league lead, but it got me a win in that category. Tied for saves with 4. And ERA was 2.57 and the whip was 0.99. How's that?
Well, and you know what I noticed too is
now that's pitching.
As far as saves go, that 4 saves, there was 3 teams with 4 saves, a couple with 3, one with 1, and then I unfortunately had the mishappenstance of playing the only other guy who had 7 saves on the week. And so I tied in that category. So you're going to go a little 5-4-1 action here. Second win in a row, and that puts Docs and Jocks with a losing, and they were the number 1 team, and I think they might actually get jumped by Phoenix Tower now, but I don't know, Tower might go, they might get jumped by Tower.
What was the?
I think they were up 1 win on Tower, weren't they?
Yeah, one and a half. It's close. Yeah,
it'd be tight.
They were a game and a half ahead of Tower.
Yeah, they can't be happy about that because we christened them as one of the teams to beat, and then now this happens.
Yeah. This has got to be devastating to their organization. I mean, to lose, and the offensive numbers were just, I did carry steals, but
your offensive numbers weren't too hot.
No, they weren't good. They haven't been good for weeks.
And the big thing we talked about the big trade. Stanton did go nuts this week, but if you had Stanton added to your numbers now, you would have won home runs. You would have been up there in RBI. But you wouldn't have carried strikeouts, and your ERA and whip would not have been there. So you could probably go back and look exactly how it would have turned out. But this week at least, that trade won you the week.
Well, and, ever since I made the trade, I've won 2 weeks in a row. So I can't really complain about that.
There you go.
I mean, I was looking to shake things up, and, Stanton is going crazy. And every time I see him hit a home run, I just cringe. But just like, you know what? I made the deal, and Scherzer strikes out 16 guys today. That's why I picked the guy up. Complete game shutout. Struck out 23 guys for the week, I think it was. And he's a stud. And he had a couple rough outings for me to start things off. But he was a 2-starter this week. The first start wasn't as good, but today the guy was just dominant. Totally dominant.
There's one thing I've noticed about these dominant guys. I've got Greinke, who's another dominant guy. Probably close in that category. You've got Shields, you've got Lariana, you've got Cole, I've got Greinke. You look at some of the other guys that pitch really well. A lot of these guys who are dominant pitchers, for whatever reason, their teams do not score runs when they pitch. A.J. Burnett through 9 innings gave up no runs. It didn't factor in the decision today.
I saw that.
And that's a frustrating thing when you got these guys who, you have great numbers and you get 4 wins out of the deal,
Mm-hmm.
or I had these I was 3.2 ERA, 1.079 whip. I won those categories fortunately, but could only scratch out 2 wins, and 1 win that I got was because I picked up the Blue Jay starter today because I thought, man, they're on a roll. They've won 10 straight, and Boston's just putrid, and he ended up getting a win.
Wow. He got the win in that game?
He went 5 innings. Yeah, they were ahead. He got the win in that game because he went 5.
That was a slugfest.
Yeah, I think when he left, he had given up 5 runs, but I think they were up like 6-7-5 or something like that. And then,
you never know with these young guys too. These young pitchers that come up. That was it Rodriguez with Boston. He pitched today. He had a couple, 2 or 3 good outings to start with, and he just got lit today.
Right.
So when you're relying on these young arms, lineups figure them out, and then once word gets around the league on how to attack these guys, it makes it tough on them. So.
Well, we're doing this before the final game, which is what, Cincinnati and Philly?
Cubs.
Cincinnati
and the Cubs. Yep.
I'm right now sitting at a 4-5-1. I'm going to lose this week. There's really no way I can win. I was hoping to get a win with Burnett, too, and tie that win category. But I could go worse because I've got Fowler going tonight, but he's got Votto and Castro. And I'm only up 1 home run. So he could get that home run, sweep the hitting, and beat me 6. What would that make it? 6-3 or something like that?
6-3-1. Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see. But either way, I'm going to lose this week. Pride and Slammers, the top 2 teams in your division, looking to go deadlocked, 4-4-2, and I'm not sure if they have many more guys left or not.
They're well, Billy Hamilton for the Slammers is going tonight.
He could steal three bases. I mean, he could steal 2 or 3 bases and get that category for him.
Yeah, he could. He could. Yep.
That's it, though? Good for them
That's
going?
That's it. I take that back. No. Pride's got Todd Frazier. He's been okay this year.
Ooh, yeah. But, and Pride would need 2 runs, 1 home run, and 1 RBI. Yeah, that's true. That could jump a lot because...
That could change quite a bit, actually.
It could. Yeah, you'd have to give the nod to Pride there with that matchup. But he's going against Leicester, so that works in Slammer's favor. But if Frazier gets a home run and just 1 RBI, that gives him 2 more categories. So, and what I thought was interesting, this is how interesting it is with baseball. And we'll talk some about the guys you have. You have so many hurt guys now, day-to-day guys. But Ziegler, the closer for the Diamondbacks, got a save the other night and then last night. Comes in, has a chance to get a save here, but they go with Hudson and said Hudson gets a save. That would have actually given Pride, if Ziegler had come in for a 3rd night in a row, would have given Pride a tie in saves, but he didn't because they don't like to pitch their closer three nights in a row, even though Ziegler did pitch really well the last 2.
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting because the deep had was on deck. It was a save situation, but figured, they might have figured too that this could be a thing where the guy throws more than just typical, run-of-the-mill save situation. And bringing guys in when there's guys on base too, that might have played into it too. I heard something the other night where closers would much rather come in just with a clean inning instead of with guys on base. I forgot who they were talking about had said that, but probably a bunch of different factors. It worked out well. Hudson was able to get 1 out, and then he induced a double play, and that ended the game. So it worked out for him.
Well, I'm at the Denver airport, so I'm on their Wi-Fi. So I apologize if we freeze up. I think you might have frozen a few times there, and you might
you did too. But that's all right. We'll battle through it.
We'll bang through it here. And then Baracho Bandits. I mean, this is a team that we had a little bit of a debate about whether they might even be a buzzsaw. You look at their offensive numbers, even though they didn't win average, but they crunched it offensively and actually had a pretty good pitching week as well.
They did, and you look at Team Britain. They hung with them. They only lost by 2 runs. They lost by 5 homers, which is pretty good. Lost by only 2 RBIs, and they carried batting average. And tonight, I'm not seeing. Let's see. I think everyone's done after the Dodgers and the Padres are still going on right now. They're in the 10th inning.
Well, I dodged a bullet there too. I dodged a bullet there because Kimbrel was getting set up for a save, which would have won that category for my opponent, the Mounties. And fortunately, my guy, Agon, finally got a hit, first time in I think like 10 at-bats. He hit a double and drove in a tying run, so Kimbrel couldn't get the save. I could care less if he got a win, which he didn't. But that helped me out there. But yeah, I was thinking about it, if you look at Team Britain, Kim's got to look at those offensive numbers going, why couldn't I have had those last week?
Why didn't I play Racers this week? Because they struggled last week and they came back this week and had a great week, but Bandits really came to play. So it was tough on Britain, but they got to just keep going. They had a good week. Pitching wise, they weren't that good. ERA and whip wise, Bandits really carried those. So I got Bandits next on the docket for next week. They're tough. They got a tough
what
team.
I've noticed, Darren, is we talk about a lot that, especially when you're going week to week, these weekly matchups, a lot does happen on luck. As opposed to if you're going the full year, it doesn't matter when a guy hits his home runs or when he gets his 16 strikeouts, as long as he does it at some point. But it really is important when he does it in the way we're playing it in this matchup. And I've noticed that a lot of times it seems like it's very hard for one team to put it together across all those categories, and that's typically the buzzsaw. But we haven't had one in a while. Most of the teams in our league are set up pretty well to be in that 5-5, 6-4 category, unless you get lucky and have, like Docs and Jocks is a great example. I had always said with them, great team, but just certain guys, and they only had 6 home runs this week. That was enough to win it, but wouldn't have been enough to beat anybody else except for the person they were playing. So they got lucky in that category. I mean, it was very fortunate for them in that category.
Yeah.
I had 12 home runs, 12 home runs, and I would have beat everybody but Bandits. But if my opponent gets a home run tonight, he'll tie me with 12.
Yeah.
So it really is kind of the luck of the draw, and it's. I think that's something people have to keep in mind before they pull the trigger on any crazy or wild trades. Now, having said that, sometimes you have to shake it up a little bit. It gets a little boring just sitting there waiting around, and you want to try something new.
Well, and especially when you're, Stanton was hitting home runs for me. He was doing okay. Betts was really not doing a whole lot, but I wasn't winning. And I looked at pitching. I think the one matchup that really got to me was I played Domorowski to that tie, and I just absolutely killed them offensively, and they carried pitching on me. And I think it was after that week, I'm like, you know what? That's enough of this. I got to start getting some decent pitching going. So pulled the trigger on that trade, and it helped me win this week with Scherzer. So I can't complain about that. I'll take any win I can get. I mean, it's as long as I can keep it going week to week and finish with more wins than losses in the categories. I'll creep back into this thing, but I'm gonna have to keep doing it. Next week it's gonna be tough though.
Last matchup to talk about, Tower and Domorowski, and I'm not sure what they've got left, but Tower up 5-4-1. Domorowski did not get the pitching this week. I guess they used it all last week or the week before because they had a 6.9 ERA, a 1.7 whip, and that's even with Sonny Gray pitching like an ace today, having a ridiculous go. But Tom Brown, who's got a nice staff too, these teams tied with 1 win. 1 win for these two guys.
Wow.
And Brown
That's
had,
right.
I think they had amongst them, they had a combined close to 20 starts this week, 1 win.
Well, and it's looking like Tower could carry homers and RBIs with what he's got going tonight. He's got Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant, and Jay Bruce. And Domorowski's got nothing. They've got Montero, but he's not starting.
So Tom would need 2 homers and a couple of RBI, and he could lose average though too. I mean, he's up 255 to 254.
Yeah, that's right. He could. These guys go in the tank. But yeah, there's some paltry numbers here as I look at this matchup.
Oh,
for Tom, 1 stolen base all week.
No,
I'm not one to talk
save,
offensively.
59 strikeouts is all.
Yeah. 59 strikeouts, 1 win, 1 save. ERA and WHIP wasn't that great. But
if he does this and wins a couple more categories, he'll be in first place.
Yes, he will. Well, and I think that's, like we talked about before, having only the 3 transactions and the head-to-head format is a great equalizer. Really, no matter how experienced of a player you are, if you're
only
going
so
by
much you can do.
there's only so much you can do. Exactly. Luck of the draw, like you said.
And
Who
can't
you playing
miss.
that week?
You can't miss when you use one. You can't miss. You used one and you picked up Kozar, and then he goes down. And I mean, that's not your fault, but he goes down, and you're stuck with him the whole rest of the week.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do.
Well, I had a tough break, and then Altuve got hurt. So I'm limping along, and I'm just like, you know what? I was thinking pitching is going to do it for me this week. If I can just hang on to steals, and I actually got within. I was tied in homers and RBIs going into last night. But then
you caught him on a good day, a good week for home runs. Now they scored a ton of runs this week.
They scored a lot of runs, but RBIs was also the low point or low water mark of the league. They scored had the least amount of RBIs, least amount of homers, and steals. They only had 2. So I was fortunate. I got lucky. They're a very good team, and I was able to still pull out a win. So miraculously, I had some things fall my way finally this week. So
it'll be interesting. The other thing, we all knew what Sheffield Slammers was going to do with the way trading away all his starters, and this week it worked out for him. I mean, he's going to carry saves. He had a great ERA and a great WHIP, and he was he's benching starters, he's benching closers, he's trying to play it as close to the vest as he could. And it's going to work out, and he might have a chance to take another category, or he could still end up losing, and that's what frustrated me and got me away from trying that category. Is I would even though the weeks I would take those 3, I would lose, or I'd win 6-4 or something. And I would see the guys who were winning big had these pitching staffs that they could kind of rely on. And so that's why I'm trying to build mine as well. But you know what? Shuffsville Slammers, that was his plan. It worked out this week. And still got a game to go tonight. See if Todd Frazier can make him pay and get the big win for Pride, or if they end up knotted. You'd like to see him like just like a go to like a 4-4-2.
I don't mind this.
Keep it stayed.
Yeah,
Right?
I don't mind the stalemate. No, it keeps those guys. Doesn't allow Pride to run away a little bit. So I'm fine with them finishing like they did from a divisional standpoint. As far as catching up with them. So, and because Shuff wasn't that far behind.
Right.
He was only half game behind.
Yeah, he's right there. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
well, I've got Tower next week. That'll be a good one. Slammers and Mounties. That'll be a nice matchup, cross division matchup there. You've got Racers or Bandits. That's going to be a big one in the East. Docs and Jocks and Team Domorowski, and then Britain and Pride. So, we don't have to say it. I mean, we're coming down the home stretch here. I mean, there's still a lot to go. But
I think we're about halfway now. We're at the halfway point.
Yeah, but this is where when you got a matchup against somebody in your own division, you gotta pop them good. And so far, it's kind of been in that 5-6 range. Nobody's really whole shot like Pride did for that nice 2-week stretch a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
All right, Darren. Well, congratulations on a second win in a row.
Thank you.
Is this your third win of the year?
This is my third win of the year.
Second in a row.
Yes, second in a row.
Congratulations.
So
this will be the second time I've lost to Mounties. I'm not happy about that, but
oh boy.
So be it. I got Tower next. If I lose to Tower, oh geez, I don't know what.
Oh, you boy.
If I lose to Tower, I'll let Tom host the show with you the next week. Although he is a lightweight, he said he couldn't hang with our phone calls after that 57-minute podcast that we did. He'd have to tap out at some point. So
yeah.
All right, guys. Anything else? Hey, Darren, you're on the winning streak. So any tips? Any tips of the trade you want to give anybody?
No, I've
trade
got
your biggest hitter for the best pitcher.
Trade your biggest hitter for the best pitcher in Major League Baseball, and you're going to do just fine. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us, Darren. Catch you later.
Have a safe trip.
All right, thanks. Bye.